will be accurate, we recommend that you make thorough checks before entering into any deals. It's very imperative. Joining us is Val the Builder. Val Musoni. She runs a property company for renovations and home improvement. She does interior design, project management, and property development. She studied real estate at the University of Cape Town and project planning and management at the University of Zimbabwe. And we're looking at buying and selling. Val, good morning. Good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, V Candy, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers.
Wonderful. We're also live on Facebook, by the way. You can also join the conversation. So, Val, we have covered buying a house and the due diligence process, buying land and the due diligence process as well. We're talking about buying and selling, right? Now that you have bought the land, where to start?
Okay, we've bought the land now, so you want to start the building process. So it is a process and it's in phases. So before you actually, go on site, you need to come up with your plans, right? The builder's drawing, architectural plans. So what you need to do is to have a checklist initially. Don't rush into anything. Have a checklist. Take time to put things down. Remember, we're talking about due diligence. It's also part of due diligence before you start construction. So you look at your, what is it that you want to achieve? What's your goal, your end goal? What do you want your house to look like? How many bedrooms are you going to have? Is it a single story or a double story? I'm sure we're familiar with that, Fee Candy, single story, without upstairs, and then double story, you've got your upstairs, you can have 2 floors, it's up to you. And also you need to consider the size of land. I go to various developments and at times I just say to myself, oh, so where is the garden going to be? I love a veggie garden.
Yeah.
But these days, you find that the house fills up the whole
I've actually
space.
noticed why. I guess they'll be wanting, bigger space, maybe like a
Yeah.
bigger house
Yeah. So when people
and
start
then
off, limited space, and also developers, some their terms and conditions don't allow certain things, so that also could be the case. But you find now the wife is now like, I don't have a veggie garden and I'm having to buy vegetables every day, and she's frustrated and all that. So you need to take all those things into consideration. Don't use up all the space with the house, and also have green spaces, because some stands, you just find that it's all concrete. There are no green spaces, no flower beds. So, things like that. So, write everything down, whatever, no matter how wild the ideas are, and take it from there, and also consider the budget. How much do you have? Be honest with yourself. Don't say, because you will not finish that property. It will take you time. So put everything down. Plan. Yeah.
Okay, so also plan just by yourself or as a couple, as a family, to then say what you want, right? Before you then engage an architect.
Yes.
So that they know what, like, you have an idea of what you're seeing, right?
Exactly.
So what do I need to know how to engage an architect?
All right. There are also steps in doing that. Before you engage an architect, I would recommend that you get a project manager. I know people don't really like the idea of a project manager. I can do it by myself. I want to tell you this. I've been in this game for quite a while. It's important to get a project manager.
Yeah, that's so true. Because let me tell you also, because
yes. So the project manager will help you from the onset. I would like to call him like Munyai. I'll just give that example. Before I came in, you were talking about Kurora, and I like that. So I'm using this example. You sit down heart to heart and say, but I only have $600. And so if they're asking for 8,000 and, I can't go beyond that. This is what I have now. It's an introduction. I'm serious about my girl. And that's how the project manager is. But you sit down with your project manager and be honest. I've got $50,000. But where your wildest dreams, the house you want to build is like, it will cost you 600,000, but you've only got 50,000. So you have to be real. So the project manager will help you and also guide you and say, this is what we can do. And also to be in the discussions with the architect, because he now knows your budget and he now knows, checks and balances, really. That's what the project manager is there for. And to make sure that your money is being spent well, because you also need to pay the architect. So it starts from there. So you need to manage the cost, and he or she can help you. I do project management. At times I'm not even building the house myself, but I'm only managing the project for someone. But I make sure that I'm making sure that the builders are doing it right. As far as the money that is being spent, the way the house is being built. So have a project manager, and then we go to the architect. That's the second stage.
Okay.
Make sure you're using someone who's qualified, registered. It can be an architect for residential or a draftsman. You can use a draftsman for residential. If it's commercial, definitely you need the architect on board. But I would prefer, that's just me really, use architects. They are also registered. There's Architects Institute of Zimbabwe, if you're not sure. But nowadays, so many people are doing projects. So you can ask friends, relatives for referrals of good architects. And if you see something, don't be scared or shy to go and ask. If you see a beautiful house as you're driving, please help me, who's your architect, and get referrals, and actually check on them as well, that they are registered and they know what they're doing. So when you engage your architect, the first phase is a pre-design phase. So this phase we actually, call it the fact-finding phase, where you will sit down with the architect and he or she will ask you questions, and you give them your brief as well. This is what I want. This is what I envision. Your aspirations and the key goals, because you're the end user. So the architect will be there listening, and as you are speaking, they're already visualizing what you are saying, because they have to translate that information on paper. So that's the first stage. And also to understand the budget, because an architect can draw anything, so you need to be specific. That's why I was saying you need the project manager to be there as well. And after that, we have the concept design, which is the schematic design phase. That is phase 2, right? So the schematic phase is when the architect does sketches. Even with the first stage, the thing is with the architects, it's like you move from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, you go back to and fro. It's never linear. So you can go back to the first stage. They can actually start just drawing something down, drafting something as you are speaking. And they say, oh, is this what you're thinking? And then phase 2, the schematic, they will actually come up with something, with a concept that you can then look at later, review, and say, yes, you got it right. Or can we amend this? Can we do this? Can we adjust this? So yeah, it moves in phases. And then you've got phase 3. Phase 3 is when you get your engineer involved. You need a structural engineer. It also depends with what you are building. If you're in a development, you find that the developer has maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 drawings already, for you to choose from. Some really want you just to use their drawings. So the work has been done for you, and all you do is to choose the design that you want. But if you're like me, I like to have my own properties designed, to have my own creativity in it, so you need to then get a structural engineer involved at this stage. And what the structural engineer does is that they look at what the architect has put together, the proposal. They also want to stay within the confines, the design of the architect, so that they don't just come and say, oh no, this doesn't work, this works, because there's also the aesthetic. That's why we have the architects. You know, the aesthetics is very important, but they can also guide the architect in the sense that maybe there's a beam that runs across the lounge, and you know, aesthetically doesn't look good, doesn't look nice. But if they like high ceilings, you can lower the ceiling. You know, if it's like a double volume, you can lower the ceiling a bit to hide that beam. There's so many things that they can do. They will be able to advise you on that. So they also guide the architect on what's best, and they can then agree on how to do it. Whether, you know, the roof perpendicular or whatever it is, they will then put their input. So that's the importance of an engineer. And also the structural engineer can help you with your budget. You know, to say, to cut costs, can we do this? You know, and then his work is to give you the materials that needs to be used, you know, the steel, the type of steel, the sizes, and also the equipment that needs to be used on site, because at times you've got these huge boulders and you need to have them removed. And so the engineer will come up with that as well and just give you guidelines on how to do things. And then from the engineer, engage the quantity surveyor. The quantity surveyor is the one who does the bill of quantities. I'm sure you've heard about that. You know, the bill of quantities, the estimates of the building costs. So he will look at what the engineer has put together, how much it's going to cost you to build the house, the bricks, the cement, the steel that's needed, the timber, everything about the house. The quantity surveyor will put it down. And at this stage, I also like to just bring in the builder as well. I mean, the contractor, so that his costs are also included in there, the labor at this stage. So yeah, those are the main stages. And then the contractor himself, like the architect, make sure that you get someone who knows what they're doing, because nowadays we've got so many contractors and it's like everyone wants to get into property because there's a property boom, people are making money. So I can just call myself, you know, tomorrow I'm a contractor. But you need to make sure that they're well referenced, get referrals from those who've done it, those who are doing it. Yeah, ask us. You know, I'm Val the Builder, so
Val the
yes, Val the Builder, come to me, and I will help you.
Got a question here. I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up because of our time.
Yes.
Saying, what about gated communities with predefined plans, architecture of drawings? For example, we got some land after Hoggett Hill. They were already plans, floor plans, everything. What are the steps in this situation? I'm sure you'll be able to then answer them. How do people get in touch with you for those who want to engage you further?
All right. They can contact me on my WhatsApp number, which is 0772 273 888. Or my email address, valmusoni@gmail.com.
Val, V-A-L, Musoni. Thank you so much, Val, the Builder.
Thank
for
you.
making time. We look forward to next week's session.
I look forward to meeting you again. Thank you, V Candy.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
It is a Galaxy Property. We do this every Monday